I'm here kicking off an interview series at the Happydance stand. And who else better to start off than the man with a plan? This is Jamie Leonard, the CEO or the former CEO. I think you're the chairperson now, aren't you?
I'm still CEO, co-founder though. You got to get co-founder in.
Co-founder.
I get beaten up when I get home.
Co-founder of the recruitment events.
The recruitment events company, yes.
Brilliant. Jamie Leonard, let's start off with the first question. How do you think AI has really changed the way in which companies interact with candidates? And I ask you this in two levels. Number one, as a person that sees a lot of businesses that are recruiting.
Yep.
And number two, also as a person that is doing some recruiting, hiring new people into the business. What are you seeing from both those lenses, mate?
I think come away from the employer side, go into the job seeker side, because I think that's where the most disruption is at the moment, is these tools like Lazy Apply that are just allowing candidates to multi-post all over the internet via LinkedIn, Indeed, everywhere else. Because look, we have the RL community and we listen to what they're saying, and all we're hearing at the moment is job applications are going through the roof. And then when they sift and find that one great candidate, the candidate's like, who's this? Oh, did I apply to you? Oh yeah, sorry, I just used a tool and applied for 1,000 jobs a day. And that's wasted money, that's wasted resource. So that for me is a major flex coming in, and employers have to work out quickly how to deal with the tsunami of applications coming their way.
Yeah, the job application tsunami, I think that's even gone into the mainstream now. So you see it in the FT, you see it in Wall Street Journal, you see it in the BBC. People are aware of it outside of our domain, which tells you that it is an issue. Where do you think it's going to go? Because it's obvious that the cat is out of the bag with regards to using these tools, and you can't really criticize a job candidate for maximizing that out. So you can assume they're going to keep on using it. What does it look like for us in the other side of it? Like, what are the best things that you can do to, help your recruiters hire, but also make sure you're not crushing candidate experience?
Yeah, telephone application, go back to newspapers. I'm kidding, don't do it. But that was a way to stop it. No, I think it's an arms race. I think you've got an arms race between the employers and the candidates of who can get to that sort of nirvana space the quickest. I think, but you look at the big platforms like Indeed and LinkedIn, and they're trying to build like an enclosed ecosystem where that can't happen. And I think that's the next interest in play. When it's open, you can get the advantage taken with those tools. Someone like an Indeed, someone like a LinkedIn, creating a closed ecosystem for the candidate agent, the employer agent, to have a worthwhile conversation. And then, hey, guess what? Wake up on a Monday morning, there's 3 interviews lined up for you this week.
I call that a walled city.
A walled city, okay.
A walled city. In other words, there's a massive barrier. It's not free entry.
Yep.
There's probably some sort of qualification vetting. Once you're in, that's when you get access to the goods.
That's where it's going to go.
And I think that's right. The idea of just seeing a random job and applying for it, it doesn't happen.
No.
From an employer branding point of view, how do you think this applicant surge impacts how people are thinking about their digital presence on jobs and stuff? Are they going to pull jobs away, or how do you actually start shaping your story?
I think employer brand becomes very difficult all of a sudden. If you've got a world where candidates are multi-posting at scale, does employer brand matter? Because is their agent looking at the shiny pictures and the font and going, that's something I want to apply for. So I think there's an interesting side to that. I also think there's, with the mass application thing, the reputational side of it as well. Employers that are just going, well, we're just not going to look at these applications, or it's going to take us 3 months to get back to them because there's so many of them. There's reputational damage on that side as well. So I think employer brand remains important, but it's where it's used, I think, becomes different. I think online job postings, applications become very commoditized very quickly. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think the idea of pressing click and sending it to multiple job boards, that was an obvious thing to do, but now we're going to hesitate on pressing that button because do you want the distribution? Do you want the uncontrollable traffic? You don't. And how do you shape your story internally? It has that effect of not only attracting people, but you've got to also attract the right people.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
means deterring the wrong people. The people that aren't a good fit for your business. Tell them very clearly what the job is about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think weirdly sourcing becomes quite popular again, but not in the way we knew it. I don't think Boolean logic and a team of 20 sources is the future. If you look at LinkedIn's new hire assistant, I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. The idea of there's 50 candidates, I don't like that, I like that, I want more of that. Okay, here's another 53 hours later. Yeah, that's a very, very big disruptor with a company that has the network of TA people in the world. They know everyone.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And yeah, the idea, it's going to change the employer story, the employer brand story. One of the things that's come through is basically, how do we get the authentic message out to candidates? Because that's one way to knife through a lot of the noise. Have you seen any good examples of companies being able to do that? And in fact, can you describe your own example, Jay? Because you are a recruiter as well, hiring people into your team. How have you kind of tried to communicate to the audience that you're trying to attract what it is to like for work for a recruitment events company?
I think you have to go with value. You have to go with mission. Like for me, from an employer brand point of view, from an EVP point of view, you know, it's what's the purpose of the business, what's the mission of the business, and then, you know, what's the culture like for me. And those are the three things we try to lead with. You know, we're not a company that leans over your shoulder and you know, micromanages people. You know, we are flexible with things like work from home and time and everything else. I also think that's a huge part of it as well, getting the message across of, you know, that work-life balance. I know we spoke about it a lot of employers dragging people back into the office now. You're getting a real divide amongst candidates now, people willing to go back and people not willing to go back.
Yeah.
So you've almost half the candidate base. Now that might shift based on demand, but I think that's a really huge piece in terms of, you know, who's willing to go back to the office and who's not. And then it's just about how you evangelize that, how you communicate that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Looking at your own sort of company page, career site, sort of say, how you're communicating with the audience, looking to work for you guys, what's the one part of your career site that you're not happy with, Jay, that you think, actually, we've got to change that? And what's the other side, one point where you think, no, we've nailed it, that's us?
We don't have one. So that's the part I don't particularly like. Yeah, no, we need more. We don't do a very good job of articulating ourselves to the candidate or what we do, but it's such an important part, right? I think it's an absolutely a massive part. So yeah, no, we don't do a very good job with that, unfortunately.
Yeah, no worries.
If only there was someone that could build career sites.
I was going to say, we need a career.
Is there someone we know? Someone selling career sites around here? We should go and ask.
That's right. All right, Jamie, Leonard, that's about it. Tell us one last word. RecFest USA, what is it for you? What do you think it does for the community?
I think at a time where this industry needs to be together and smile, it does that for people. And that's what it's all about.
Fantastic. Jamie, Leonard, thank you so much for your time.